Okay. Hello. Is this thing on? So I'm going to weigh in on a few things because I tap into seeing what they're shoving out in pop culture and in politics and in just the entertainment, Masonic, not so entertaining, hijacked control puppet media. The MSM, the Masonic Satanic Media, mainstream media, lamestream media, fake news, fear porn, whatever you want to call it. Advancing the dark narrative with the bobbleheads, the inverts and perverts is what I call it. But you got to check in on the circus sometimes to see who's throwing peanuts around. And apparently the tea, the goss, the dish, the dirt is that Katy Perry allegedly is being, well, not allegedly, she is being accused of allegedly hurting Ruby Rose. Now, why I would believe this and why I don't go into the conversation of why now or 20 years ago or cash grab or anything like that is I know why women stay silent, especially around other more so-called powerful people. I know that. I know why they do that. It's survival. And do I think this person was trying to advance their career? Absolutely. Do I think there's a problem with that? When men do it? Nope. When women do it, suddenly it's a problem. Amazing. And they will call her every name in the book rather than take accountability that they were fully willing to take their little casting couch of a heart, because they don't really have one, and play these Operation Loverboy games, these Operation Gigolo, Operation romance scam crap on people. And they all go catfishing in their own little fan base, so that's another fun thing. But do I think that there is a history and a pattern of grabbiness with that one? I sure do. Posted a bunch of things yesterday. Just a very cursory Google search can turn up, some smear on that one. And it wasn't hard. It wasn't difficult, really. From the, nun who dropped dead to the veteran being sued to the, now this, whatever, assault thing in a nightclub 20 years ago when both were drunk. Like, I am so glad that I really wasn't much of a nightclub person. I like to always go to house parties. So, like in college, for example, you'd get on the little bus, you'd go to the house party, you'd have a great time, and then either someone would be a designated driver and drive everybody home, or you would get back on the bus, And maybe you'd go get your slice of Antonio's pizza at UMass Amherst, where the pizza desirers were not children eating people, just people who wanted actual bread and dough and cheese, maybe some pepperoni. And that line would spill out into the road like 3 a.m. So I don't know. My nightlife, even when I was out there and having more social activity, when I was basically half the age I am now, was never something that I would have to be worried about was going to come out 30 years later. Like, it was pretty tame, which I'm very relieved and refreshed about because, boy, these skeletons are flying out of these closets. They're hopping on little brooms and just flying out. It's amazing. So, yeah, I think they're all in it. I've been saying that for years. It's all of them. They're all in it together. They take vows of silence and to protect their brothers and their sisters. They see it as some big toxic, dysfunctional, Illuminati, mafia, gang, group, cabal, whatever, right? And people just aren't, I don't want to say people aren't ready because I think most people actually are ready for the truth, but they may not be ready for the next layers of truth and the next bombshells and the next dropped it like it's hot tea, testosterone tea, or, the Coven Wars. That's what we're seeing play out. When you see two people beefing like that, they're positioning themselves for higher rank or power in the cult. So, they manufacture these beefs or they amplify beefs that actually are real and, add blackmail in the mix, add, that post-Me Too era people are more vocal about things that they were silent about. So there's a lot of factors there. There's factors. There's your own behaviors, your own words, things we've witnessed, patterns, turds of a feather eat children together, apparently. So I'm not, making wild accusations or saying things that are categorically false. I am saying things that have now been proven through the third, maybe quarter of the Epstein files that have been released thus far, and for them to say that that's it, there's no more. We're all calling bullshit on that one. We're all calling bullshit on the whole thing. The whole Epstein epic fury fail farce, right? Anyway. So, and then there was something about Adam Driver throwing a chair at Lena Dunham, and I rolled my eyes and had to have a little chuckle at that, because don't weigh in on the domestic violence thing if you were in consensual, weird, artistic, pretentious trauma bonds with people, okay? You said that you put a hairbrush up your little sister at the time's vagurge. Okay, you said that. You got backlash for that. That was appropriate. Then you went into hiding. Then you came out, and I will not be mean, but looking different, shall we say. And so who knows, right? Who knows what any of these people get up to in their artistic worlds, like the Baldoni, Blake Lively farce and PSYOP and everything. So do I think some of the, it's like truth mixed with lies? Yeah, sure, absolutely. Do I think it's all hyped for drama and for looshing, to harvesting your energy and getting you absolutely distracted from things that do matter and do count? Absolutely. Yes, that's right. That's what I think. Does anybody care what I think? Did anybody ask? No. Nope. That's okay. I'm going to say it anyway, because I also feel very deeply that women are having a moment. Thank goodness. Long overdue and very important. I just saw some influencer who, they do all the narcissist empath content, which is, again, everything's a spectrum, right? Like, they're all narcissists if they're in the fame realm. They're all clout chasers, they're all attention seekers, and they're all gold diggers. That's a baseline. You have to be those things to even get your, pinky toe in the door, so to speak. Then you have to do other unspeakable things, apparently. Allegedly, apparently. Supposedly. But yeah, the whole, like, let's go start wars to distract and deflect and turn the attention elsewhere and change the subject is so flimsy and so pitiful. And, so just, you want to keep combating and resume fighting. Did you ever stop? Because I don't think you ever stopped. A ceasefire is a non-word in the Masonic world, because the war of good and evil never stops. But it can elevate, or at least members of the actual light can elevate, not the false light, not the fake light, not the spotlight, not the limelight, the soul light, the true light, the good light, right? And we have to distinguish, because the Illuminati think they are the illumined ones. They think they're enlightened. You're not enlightened if you consume children in ritual, or if you harm them sexually. You'll never be enlightened, okay? That is not happening in this lifetime. Now, is there redemption for anyone who's done anything? Apparently, technically, yes. But they have to want it, right? Like, they don't want it. They claim they want to be rescued from their lovers and the demons in their minds and all the torment that they experience, and they don't want to be re-traumatized, and they're fragile too, and they were victims too. And then they turned around and became perpetrators. So that's the victim to perpetrator pipeline they all go through. And there are requirements for the cult. The cult is very strict. The satanic, Masonic, demonic, Luciferian cult has many, 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 many rules that if you break one or cross one, suddenly you are disrespectful. It is unacceptable. And the Volturi are coming for you. And then the clock is ticking, and the threat theater heightens and amplifies around every full moon, or around every high satanic holiday, where if they just invert everything. If Easter is about the resurrection of Christ, they're going to mock Christ. If Christmas is about the birth of Christ, they're going to, lead up to that with Halloween, which is their, let's all open portals and bring in our demon pals and our Archon buddies and our negative entities, because we want them to do our bidding like they're Dobby the house elf, So these people are picking on very little countries and then trying to make you think that's a villain, that's we got to squash that, that's a problem. They're stockpiling nuclear weapons, la la la. When any war and every war has been about human and child trafficking. They go in, they grab the kids, They claim casualties, they take them underground, and they do what they will with them. So, do I give a shit about who threw a chair at a coworker in the movie realm, or who, throws out some mean tweets or calls reporters names? No, those are the surface things that they want you to give a shit about. I care about the deeper issues, which is when, and why, and how they hurt children, right? And it's often. And they have sleazily oozed out of consequences for that for decades, and really, quite honestly, for centuries and millennia. This is how old and how dark and how slimy this cult is. So why am I still alive and getting to say these things? Because they diminish my voice. The algorithm squishes me to see about 4 of you will see this. And maybe 1 of you or 2 of you will be brave enough to hit the like button, right? Because they're watching you too. If they're watching me, they're watching you watch me, right? And that sounds really paranoid, and I don't care at this point. If you don't get it, then please scroll on. What we can do as a collective and as individuals is just see it, call it out, and then keep it moving. And I do that on the daily, and so these psyops that are meant to create, they call them Masonic morality plays, which is highly ironic because none of them have any morality or ethics. But they do believe in deceiving the masses, and they believe if you can be deceived, you should be deceived. And they call us profanes, uninitiated, deplorables, on and on and on. Woke, there's always, if there's a label that denigrates an entire group, and we all are human and fall prey to that sometimes, right? Then that's the Masonic and demonic realm pulling the strings behind the scenes. So see through it, see the threads that are common through all of it, and just move away. But I mean, when I say this, I'm immersed in it up to my eyeballs because I'm trying to stay safe and try to stay alive. And I don't talk about that part of it that much because I don't like to feed or water that part, right? Like, don't feed the fears. Well, this is a mafia. They are evil and they are vengeful. And you can see just from if you don't do what we want, we're going to come down on you like the rain of hell. And all of a sudden we got a bully at the pulpit who's pretending to be Jesus. Okay. All right. But they all do that. That's just a rite of passage and humiliation ritual. They all pretend that they either are Jesus and they can walk on water and heal the sick and the lame and the blind and make, turn water into wine. They can do all the things, right? And their versions of that are what? Harnessing power from less powerful people, or from people who don't have the visibility they do. They may have more spiritual rank and spiritual power. In fact, that's only who they go after. But they don't have money, or they don't have status, or the airwaves or the microphone or the platforms, right? Those of us out here who are just content creators, when we're just like little fish in the big ocean, even though in the other ocean, in the celestial ocean, we are much bigger, larger than life, if you will. It's not a size thing either. It's an energy thing. So there's my ramble babble for you for today. And whenever you see this, I hope you can just absorb, digest, and realize I'm not doom and glooming, and I'm not blackpilling you. I'm just peeling layers of the mason onion so you can connect the dots and you can see it and you cannot fall prey to it, and you will not unconsciously fund it or vote for it or wear, Nike stuff, for example. I don't want to get into that. But just that all your actions and all your thoughts and all your words do impact your reality. I wouldn't go so far as to say the dumb and lame and one-dimensional phrase, there's no such thing as the real world. It's all just a lie we have to rise above. No, that's convenient. That helps you escape your crimes, right? There is a real world. There's a consensus reality, and we're sharing it right now as you're listening to me, as I'm speaking words into the void and they land in your ears. That's reality. That's something you can take, to your psyche and say, that happened. I witnessed that. I heard that. I connected with that. And then the crazy making, gaslighting will come, and the gang stalking and the threats and blah, 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 blah. And the mindfuckery, which I am going to swear because that's exactly what it is. It's the kindest, softest way to say what it is. What it really is MK Ultra electronic torture. And it will become known that is how they deal with what they consider opposition or people who have a voice or an opinion that doesn't just go along to get along or roll over to get up, right? Yeah, we're not doing that. So I love seeing women coming into their voice, into their power, into their story, into their truth. And I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's somebody famous or somebody you never heard of. I think it's brave. What we call now victims, I've heard called overcomers. Of course, we know the phrase survivors. What I feel they are is warriors for the truth. And so if you can't be that, what are you doing here? You're just perpetuating the lies. You're living the lies. You're trying to avoid the lies coming out. And you're just creating a lot of smoke and mirrors and carrot and stick and tail chasing garbage, right? So the hopeful silver lining of all of it is the truth will set us free. And yeah, it'll probably piss us off first, and that's just the way it goes. But it will bring you back to your sovereignty, back to your honor, your autonomy, and your dignity that they try to rape from you every 5 minutes by poking your brain with lies. Okay? So at a certain point, people go, well, just turn the screens off and go get in nature. Yes, we can do that. We should do that. I do that often. And we also are part of this 3D reality video game Truman Show Matrix to help move away the vibes and the people of unconsciousness and of the darkness and of the fallen world and elevate and ascend and embody and embrace and integrate into our wholeness, our fullness, our truth, our multidimensionality, which you're not going to find on CNN or Fox or MS Now or any of these other fake news outlets, because they're all fake news outlets. And we probably would get more truth from a DoorDasher for real at this point, but not that one. Because it's all staged, right? If you're seeing it, think of how much effort and narrative goes into it. That their background is reality shows, movies, and dancing in, high heels on disco ledges in Europe, in leather. That's their background. So whatever, your past is your past. But what are you going to do with your future? Are you going to do better? Are you going to level up? Are you going to grow up? Are you going to evolve? Are you going to take accountability? Are you going to be real, communicate directly, clearly, and with very pure intentions? Or are you just going to keep playing stupid games and getting stupid consequences? So choices, right? If it is clown world and it is a circus, the flying monkeys are not your flying monkeys, but you do have to deal with them. And one by one, you can just dismantle the thought processes that made them flying monkeys in the first place and remind them of their own individuality, sovereignty, and autonomy. And they don't have to play that way. They can play a bigger, better, more human, more loving game. And not that it should be a game, but that is how they see everything. And they make bets on your downfall. And then they pretend to love you. And so I don't think there's anything more diabolical or sleazy. And it will come out. It's not all going to come out through me. I'm just one puzzle piece in a much bigger puzzle of people who see through the tapestry of this cult. And all cults die eventually. They die out. They are exposed. And, sometimes, unfortunately, the new ones form. But the cult of personality, the cult of fame, the cult of the Illuminati, the cult of the Masons, the cult of the Luciferians, all these cults, and then the many branches of cults like the Catholics, the Jehovah's Witnesses, the Scientologists. It's all programming. And so the way you break through your programming is to see it, to say it, and then to pick better thoughts. So my better thought for today is, yes, when a man is asking for or demanding respect or calling you disrespectful or disobedient, run from that man, run from that person, no matter who it is, because respect is an inside job, and it is earned. It is not given freely, and it is certainly not given to bullies or abusers who exploit the airwaves and their famous friends to try to make you acquiesce to something you have said no to several times. Several times. They should hear the first no. The first no is the most important and the most relevant. Every no after that is just you stepping on someone's neck and calling it love. Wouldn't do that. It's not advisable. It's not going to go well for you, especially when you're picking people who have like Elsa Medusa vibes and they don't want to hurt you, but if you come too close, you're going to be blasted back. If you come with the wrong intentions, vibrations, or a lack of basic respect and humanity and dignity, then you will suffer the consequences, not through anything that the targeted person has to do, but through karma and divine plan. and balancing and reckoning, which we're in that season right now. We're seeing it left and right. So do I care what Katy Perry does with her vagina in a nightclub or out 20 years ago or last week? I do not. And I don't think we should have to care about that. And I think that's a grotesquerie, humiliation ritual for, power positioning in the cult and trying to get higher rank. So see everything like that. See every little scandal, every cheating thing, every I threw a chair, I put a hairbrush up my little sister's vagina confessional moment as them trying to be outrageous and get reactions out of you, trying to normalize things that are brutal and that shouldn't be normalized, that shouldn't be, they're just groomers. That's all they are. At a certain point, they become flying monkeys and groomers and bullies themselves. So the victim to perpetrator pipeline, like I said. And then you've got people in there who are feeling very much trapped, and yet they kind of like their trap. They kind of like their golden cage. They're kind of cozy and stagnant there. So they claim they want change, but they won't do anything to change. They won't change the behaviors. They won't change the attitudes, and they don't change the mindset. So their life is going to continue to just be the same. And that's true of all of us. So if we want to change, we have to give them no power, not just less power, but no power. And I know right now I'm giving them time, attention, and words, and that is power. But I'm also doing that to purge it out of my head, and that's me reclaiming mine. So please, to all who have been harmed by this cult, even the ones in it, war is not the answer. It's never going to be the answer. It is a very stunted and very lame way of approaching problems and conflict. So when you are declaring war or perpetuating war and combat, all you're doing is showing your ignorance and your fear. So let's declare peace inside and out, and let's actually start embodying and embracing that and seeing what that looks and feels like. And there's my long, long ramble rant at you today. You're welcome. I'm sorry. Have a great day, afternoon, evening, morning, whatever time it is, whenever you encounter this. Much love from my heart to yours.